Peace and love, freedom and decolonization to all African people from wherever you find yourself, in the diaspora or on the continent. Today we are talking about, in this episode, of course, is a continuation of the preceding episode on the process or on the steps that we as African people must go through in order to achieve our complete freedom that will allow us to be in charge of our reality. When you examine the situation of Africa today, you will see that there are two things that we don't control as a result of not being totally freed. And the number one thing that we don't control is our resources. A free man must be in charge of something, must be in control of what belongs to him. But we are not in control of our resources as African people. And the second thing is we are not in control of our destiny. The West imperialism, the Western society makes agenda regarding the future of Africa and impose that agenda on us through the institutions such as the WTO, the IMF and the World Banks and other multilateral institutions built and controlled by the Western society. So by the fact that we don't control our resources, we don't control our destiny, eventually we cannot claim to be free. And this is what resulted from the so-called African independence, whereby after I don't know how many years, 100 years of colonialism, you declare somebody free and expect him to be in charge of his life, in charge of resources and his destiny. It doesn't happen. So we need to go through these steps that are important to transform us into people who are worthy to manage their affairs again, so that we don't have to rely on the colonizers, on the oppressors to give us food, to give us job, to come and invest in our countries as foreign investors, as we like to call that words. So that's what we are aiming at this presentation, is to demonstrate the steps that we must go through and possibly help our future leaders, our younger generations today who are becoming future leaders tomorrow, to go through these steps through the training that we have at the Free-Minded Pan-African Academy, so that tomorrow we have a different Africa with different mindset and different leaders. So previously we spoke about the rebellion, which is the first thing that needs to happen for a people who are enslaved to change their status quo. And we explained that during the 1960s, the physical rebellion happened through the works of our forefathers, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, and all those people that we know, Sekou Toure. Today, we must now do a psychological job of rebelling against the status quo, right? It's our duty today, because the mindset of Africa, of African men and women, is still going through with the inertia of colonialism. It is still set to function through that inertia or on the inertia of colonialism. So it is our duty to reverse that inertia, or to stop that inertia and to begin functioning in a different way that will make us a people who are in charge of their reality, and is not colonialists who will help us to change our mindset. It is our own initiative and our own responsibility. So we spoke first of all about rebelling against the status quo, and today we are talking about restoration of confidence as the second step that we need to undertake in order to be effectively free and liberated and take charge of our resources and of our destiny. Restoration of confidence is the important thing, because what happened during slavery was, among other things, the destruction of confidence in us as African people, the confidence that we can manage ourselves, the confidence that we can rule the world again as we did in millennia, the confidence that we are worthy to be a people, and we are a people created by the Creator directly. We are not descending from animals or stuff like that as we were qualified. So we need to restore that confidence that was destroyed, because As I've explained in a preceding video, that enslavement of Africa has happened in 3 phases. The first phase was physical destruction of Africa. The second phase was economic exploitation or destruction of Africa, where the resources were taken out of Africa. And the third phase is psychological, which makes Africa the engine of their own destruction, whereby we are participating willingly today, apparently, to the exploitation of our resources, exploitation of our people, and the impoverishing of our communities. This is more of psychological, right? So it's working like this. It's effectively working like this simply because in our mind, we have lost the confidence that we can manage ourselves. That is why we are still projecting ourselves as servants to the white imperialism or white supremacy. That is why most of the current leaders today in Africa, those who come and tell us that elect me tomorrow, I will do this and do that for you. You know what they do first? They go to America, they go to these Westerners and tell them, you must support me as a potential candidate, because if you support me, I will collaborate with you. That collaboration simply implies I will serve you. I will serve you. And when these Western-owned media will make a lot of propaganda about these candidates, and we begin to believe that these are the right candidates because they speak well about them, on the media, on the Western medias, they call them people who can bring democracy and stuff like that. Then we elect them without knowing that these people have signed a contract with the Westerners to serve them. So in a nutshell here, what I'm trying to say is that we have lost confidence in ourselves to be a people who are in charge of their own nation and their own destiny. People who can decide what the world must become tomorrow and make it happen, even though we have all that is taken or that is required to make that happen. We have lost that confidence. So we have to look to the white man as the only one who can validate our opinions. If he has not validated the opinions of Africans, that African is not right. I mean, we cannot accept him. That opinion is not valid. Until the white men validate a candidate, then we believe that candidate is right candidate. Until the white man validates a project, then we believe that project is right. So this is showing the lack of confidence that we have in us. And you cannot do anything. You cannot do anything in the context of nation building until you are confident enough in yourself that you are a human being created in the image of the Creator, whether it's he or whether it's she. We have no problem with that. And you are capable of doing the right things that you are supposed to do. Let me put it in this way. Simple examples to understand what we are talking about confidence. Why do our women, African women, the true image of the Creator, the life givers, why do they, as original as they are, have to take the hair of Indians who sometimes are dead, or of Brazilians, and buying those hair very expensive to put as extension on their head to make themselves beautiful? Simply because they don't have confidence in their natural beauty as to be the original beauty that the Creator created. So they have to take something else, some filth from other people, and to put on them in order to portray beauty. So it means in ourselves, the ideal image of beauty is the image of Indian woman or Brazilian woman. We condemn the Creator. Why? And we ask him why he created us as a black woman. And we want to be like Indians. We want to be like Brazilians. We tell him, you should have made us like these people so that we can be beautiful, because they are beautiful. And we are ugly as African people, as African women. And this is lack of confidence in yourself. So you think a person who believes that for her or for him to be beautiful, to be accepted, he needs to take something from whites. He needs to take something from India, or he needs to look like whites. can that person initiate a project of his own or her own to change his reality? No, you need to depend on those people that have become the true picture of beauty, the true picture of human being, of correctness, to come and do those things. That's why we are relying more on other people to do for us what we are supposed to do for ourselves than to initiate our own actions, our own projects of social change and of our transformation of our lives, and work on them. And even sometimes when we try to initiate, we still need validation from other people. That's why I spoke about validation of white men. When you look at the African Union, what all they do is validation. They try to do everything to be quoted or to be marked as democratic. Most of the leaders in Africa, they want to do everything to be marked by Western institutions as democratic, as a good leader. And we don't realize that whatever that Western imperialism, Western society appreciate about Africa is not good for Africa, is bad for Africa. That is why one of the African leaders said that the day that you see the European begin to talk good about me, know that I've already compromised. I'm already compromised. Know that I'm not good for Africa. So we're talking about restoration of confidence. For us to be able to rebuild Africa, for us to be able to manage our destiny, for us to be able to manage our resources, we must rebuild in us the confidence. I was talking about the African woman who must take everything that the white woman does to decorate herself so that she can feel confident, simply because in herself as African woman, she doesn't feel much confident about the nature in which the Creator made her to be, which is actually the original, because the African woman is the original creature, is the first creature, right? As some have argued, and I believe so. Look at African men. Once you get the money, what do? Most of us, we have that eagerness to get married to white women, simply because we don't have much confidence in ourselves. You see, if you love what the Creator made you as a black man, you would want to always continue to recreate that every time that you have an opportunity to extend yourself into other people, because giving birth is extension of ourselves. So you will wish to extend yourself, to recreate yourself into the very same thing that you are. Let's use the concept of the Bible here, just for the sake of arguments. In the Bible, it says that God created man into his image and likeness. Why he didn't create him into the image of maybe animal, a tree, or other thing? He created him into his image and likeness. Why would a man and a woman want to create himself or extend himself or recreate himself or herself into the image of other thing than a black man and black woman? You see how we lose our nature. If we are confident in ourselves as a black man, we would want to extend ourselves, to recreate ourselves into our woman, through our woman, into the very same image of ourselves as a black man, a black woman. We wouldn't want to recreate ourselves into the image of Caucasians or into the image of Indians or Arab and stuff like that. And that shows that we don't appreciate what we are. We don't have confidence in what we are. That's why we need to recreate ourselves in something else that is acceptable, to the white people. Something else that will make us feel closer to the white people, because we don't have much confidence in us. It's psychological. We can go on and on to show a lot of examples that really tell us that we lack confidence as African people, even though we talk much about the reality in Africa, how Africa must change, but do we have confidence in doing that? How many people talk about Africa, but how many people even attempt to do something in order to change the reality of Africa? Because once you have the confidence that the situation is not right for me, I'm fully created a human being, definitely that confidence will lead you to take some actions, right? And if you don't have confidence, you never take actions. You will only comment the reality from afar. You only discuss about the reality from afar. But the confidence is what will move you from a state of passive observer of your own destruction into becoming an active participant in the projects of your own construction, reconstruction as a powerful people in the world. So the fact that we are valuing so much the education, the Western education, is because we don't have confidence in our own indigenous education as African people. You see, in Africa today, when we hear that this leader is got a doctorate, is a PhD from, I don't know, university in United States, from Harvard, from London, we give more value to those Negroes than we give to our traditional chief. And yet, these traditional chiefs are the ones who know the secrets, who know the culture, who know the custom, who know the things that can help us to liberate ourselves quicker. But these people from Western education, they are the people who I can call alienated already. They are turned upside down, inside out. They are anti-African culture. Those are the ones we embrace, and we think they are the ones who can liberate us because they've been educated from the Western institutions. And what do we get after that? Disappointment. So if we have restored our confidence, we will look also into our traditional chief the same way that we want to look at the Western educated Negroes with a PhD degrees that cannot solve the problems of Africa. Restoration of confidence is very important. Do you have confidence in yourself as a human being? When you find yourself in the middle of other races, how do you feel? What place do you give to yourself? You give yourself the last place because you have been made to serve them, or you give yourself an equal space as a human being? How confident are you in yourself? We come across a lot of Africans, when we tell them the projects that we have, when we tell them the vision that we have, they doubt us. They say, Africans cannot do that, simply because they don't have confidence. There are many Africans who have lost confidence in Africa, and they believe that Africa will never change. So the restoration of confidence is key for African reconstruction. And this process of restoring confidence must begin with our kids. We're always saying that if we are unable to hand over to our kid Africa that is free and prosperous, at least we must hand over to them an inheritance of warrior mindset, not of a defeated mindset that always wants to embrace white people's name because that mind doesn't have confidence in itself, want to bleach the skin color to look like white people because we don't have confidence in our skin color, in ourselves, as beautiful as we are. We always want to, when we get the money, to run away from our communities and go and live next to white people because we don't have confidence in our own people, on ourselves, among ourselves. So all these things that we do, sometimes without thinking how deep they are actually portraying the mindset of African people, we must begin analyzing them, because what they do, they actually create, or they actually, how can I put it, further the continuation of lack of confidence. And it's dangerous when we show to our kids that we don't have confidence in ourselves as African people. So it is time to restore the confidence in Africa, because with lack of confidence, we cannot do something on our own. With lack of confidence, we always wait for people to come and do things for us. With lack of confidence, we always pray for God to change things that we are supposed and are able to change by ourselves. With lack of confidence, we will want the prophets to come and tell us things that are going to happen to us tomorrow, because we don't have confidence that we can make something happen tomorrow. So confidence is a key, even for your personal life. you cannot image, you cannot innovate, you cannot change your reality, you cannot build a family. You can do nothing if you don't have confidence. You cannot even approach a woman to propose her for a serious relationship, to build a family with you, if you don't have confidence in you. We must be able to restore in us confidence, and there are many ways that we can eventually get to that level of restoration of confidence. And if you are interested, we are inviting you to join us in the Free Minded Academy, to register for our Free Minded Academy training, where we are working to create a new type of leaders in politics and in business. We are focused on politics and business leadership because it's lacking in Africa, and is lacking also among other things due to the lack of confidence in us as African people. We are refusing to buy from a fellow African because we don't have confidence in them that they can produce something good. You see, I've heard some Africans asking, in a shop, if the owner of the shop is African. So if he's African, they wouldn't buy there because they don't have confidence that African can render a good service, African can do a good job. So we have lots of things to change if we can just restore confidence in us as African people. So, restoration of confidence. Please, if you have enough confidence, join us in ACP. Let's do together this work of reconstruction of Africa as a global power base. And if you don't have much confidence, you can still be part of us, and we will train you. We will train you as a potential leader with enough confidence that will allow you to go into your community and mobilize your community and organize your community and have the African Continental Unity Party built there in your community, and go for elections and win the power and change things in your colonial enclosure that we call country, or in your community, wherever you are settled. And all of us doing this together in Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Ghana, Congo, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, wherever we are finding ourselves doing this work of reconstruction of Africa. In 10 years, we'll find that Africa is united, Africa is strong, and Africa is indeed a global power. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have 2 shoes, please sell one and buy a sword. If you have 2 trousers, please sell one and buy a sword, because now it is time for revolution. And this revolution is no longer on the streets. This revolution is in the mind. Because if we are not in charge of the machine up here, the one who controls that machine will make our bodies the tools that can be used to oppress ourselves and to oppress our people. So please stay tuned for the next episode that is coming. It's very important. We talk about the reconditioning of the mind. Thank you very much. See you then.